and there's this deck, and it looks out at Twin Sisters, and you just get this amazing presence of the Lord. And it's just beautiful. And every time you go up there, or not you, but every time at least I go up there, I get this huge, on fire feeling for God, this mountaintop experience. And especially once, like that summer where I really entrusted my life to the Lord, especially when that happens, and it's the greatest feeling. And it's just been such a blessing to me over the last 11 years. And I've had such amazing counselors, such amazing cabin mates. I couldn't have asked for anything better. And so I've gone up there, as I said, for 11 years. So obviously it's a huge part of my life, seeing as I'm only 18 years old. And this summer, I had this profound experience that has taught me more of the Lord than anything really ever. And I wish I had some way to, like, I wish I could draw so I could put it, like, in pictures for you, but I'm just going to describe it. I had this dream 2 Saturdays ago. I don't know what date it was because I wasn't paying attention when I was at camp. I'm gonna be honest about that. I wasn't paying attention to the date because it doesn't matter. I'm lucky I knew it was Saturday. And so I went to sleep. I was obviously just went to sleep. It's just what we do. And I had a 2-part dream. And for those of you wondering what I mean by 2-part dream, I've told this story to my... Oh, and I'll premise this. I was part of this program for the last 2 years called Shift up at Camp Timberline. It's this awesome program where you get to give back to camp, really. You get to help out with maintenance. You get to do dishes. You get to serve food. You get to prep for meals. You get to set up the parties because they have some rocking parties up at camp. They're awesome. And you really just get to help out and give back. But you also get to go out on your own little excursions with just your other shifters, which is about 19 other people or less. There was 18 of us with the 5 counselors. So, and we were broken into like 2 groups. So that would decide who was like prepping and serving food or who was doing the dishes and stuff like that. And so we got to go horseback riding. We got to go mountain biking. One of the hardest things I've ever done. Just be completely honest. I'm going on a tangent here, and I go on a few tangents because I'm long-winded. I'm going to Arizona State to study journalism, so obviously I'm kind of long-winded. And we went rock climbing, and we would have gone river tubing on the St. Vrain River in Lyons, Colorado, but it was really rainy, which was a blessing, and it was really cold. So instead, we decided to put on costumes, and we went putt-putt golfing. And so I was wearing like basketball shorts and this weird like scrubs top and like a caveman thing. So one of my shifters, which is what the group we call ourselves within the group, was wearing this like Batman suit, and we were like going back and forth. I was like the villain, and he was Batman, and he called me like caveman, doctor, therapist person, and that's just kind of what I felt like the whole time. And so we went putt-putt golfing. We were all in these crazy costumes. One kid in like a giraffe costume, which was so crazy awesome. I mean, we had Batman, we had a giraffe, we had people dressed up in all kinds of outfits. It was so much fun. And the shift program is just an amazing program. I can do a whole nother video about that, and who knows, maybe I will, but I could do a whole nother one. But back to that night. For the shift program, we sleep in platform tents, which is awesome in itself, and just so cool, because you're not in the cabin that smells like farts and feet. Yes, and that's awesome, because the air just kind of comes and cleans it out, so it doesn't ever really smell that bad. And so, as I said, I went to sleep that night, and this dream, 2-part dream. I mentioned that, and I meant to explain it, but I got off on that tangent about shift and all that. Two-part dream, I woke up in the middle. I don't know why God wanted me to wake up in the middle, but I woke up in the middle of it, and so I'll explain it. And so the dream started. I was in my room here at my house, looking at my mirror. One of the weird parts was I have a Bible passage written on my mirror. It's Ephesians 5, 1 through 21. It's an amazing passage. I really encourage you guys to read it. I learned it during my first year of shift. And so I was reading it. Or I wasn't. Well, I guess I might have been reading it because it's really hard. It was really hard to tell in the dream. So I was probably reading that passage. But then I decided to look at my reflection. And in my reflection, I saw myself. But behind me was just like this legion of demons just lined up behind me, and they were in, this is the crazy part, the main one had like black hair, and they were all white guys, which I thought was really weird, just to be honest. Like the whole legion of demons that was behind me were black guys, and they all had like biker clothing on. They had leather jackets, white shirts, and just black leather pants. And they were all dressed like that. The main one, as I said, had like short black hair, and what I can remember, they were all looking at me extremely menacingly with like fire in their eyes, because they're demons. And the main one just had this broken baseball bat. He was just hitting the broken end against his left hand, just bouncing and just like kind of laughing at me. Just kind of in that way when you're just taunting someone with something. It's just like, and I got scared, and like I could totally tell my facial expression in the dream. This is the most vivid dream I've ever had too, and I was just scared out of my mind. So I turned around, and I just decided, I tried to fight. I just started punching and punching and punching, just trying to fight them off because I don't want these demons near me. These demons don't need to be here. I turn around, there's nothing there. It's just my room. I can see my bed. I can see my wall with all my sports stuff on it because I'm obsessed with sports. Sports journalism is what I'm focusing on at ASU. And it was, oh gosh, crazy. And I mean, it happened multiple times. I was looking in my mirror and they'd be back. And so I turned around and started punching and punching and punching again. And I couldn't do it. I couldn't find them because they weren't there. They were just gone. And so I decided in the dream, I'm like, I gotta find these guys. I gotta get them away from me. And that's really when I woke up. I had to pee, so I went out in the woods, and I peed for whatever. And then I got back in my bed, and I don't normally do this, and I was immediately back asleep. Immediately. And after that, it was just like, just straight back to the dream. That doesn't happen for me. I don't have two-part dreams. Once I have a dream, if I wake up, it goes, if I just fall back to sleep and I have another dream. But this was weird. It was a continuation of the dream. So obviously it meant something. And I knew that even while I was asleep. And I found them. It was like a restaurant or something. And because I remember they were all sitting at tables, and I could see like, I kind of remember table mats and plates and all that. And I can see the main guy with his slicked back, black hair, and his leather jacket. And, yeah, I guess he had the broken baseball bat with him. And he turns around to me, and because I yelled something, I'm like, come at me, bring it. I'm going to fight all of you, and I'm going to get you away from me. I don't want you guys near me or something. And I'm just yelling at him. And I guess I said something, and the guy turns around, fire in his eyes. You're next on my list. And I don't know what that means. But it scares the crap out of me. And so I just book it. I start running. And I get out into this green field, and I'm just running. It's this like extremely huge green field that just goes as far as the eye can see. And there's this, and I can remember seeing it, there's this green car off to my left, way behind me. But it kind of catches up, and it's yelling at me. It's like, Jeff, get in, Jeff! And I and I turn around, and I don't look at the car, but I turn around and I just see the legion of demons. They've all like transformed into these things where they can fly extremely fast. They weren't birds, but they were just flying. And they first off they were running, and then they turned into like the flying things there, and they just flew at me, and I couldn't get away. I couldn't run fast enough, and they got me, and that was where the dream ended. The demons had gotten me. They were beating me. And that's when I woke up. And so, having this dream, I had to tell someone. So I went to my counselor, because, I mean, that's who you're supposed to go to when you have something like this. And I didn't understand it, and we had read this book, The Screwtape Letters, that's it. We were reading the Screwtape Letters in our tent, and one of them had talked to Screwtape, the demon in the book. It's a book by C.S. Lewis. Awesome, and I want to read the rest of it. We got to about chapter 8 while I was at camp, and I want to read the rest. It's such an amazing book so far. He's just talking about the demon, kind of like he's writing to his nephew Wormwood, and he's talking about how he works and how it's supposed to work. For the demons to tempt us and to take us down to hell. And I don't know, I guess something in the dream, something in the letter the night before kind of prepared me for the dream, but I don't totally remember what it was. I'd have to read the book and find it. It was chapter 1 or chapter 2, because it was the first time we were reading the book that I had this dream. And I read it, and our counselor read it to it, so I went to the counselor who was reading it to us, and I told him about it. And, well, I told him some of it, because I didn't really understand it at first. And it was later, that's why I woke up on Sunday, and it was Sunday night when I really understood the dream. So at camp, they have this thing called TREC, and I can't remember what TREC stands for. It's an acronym. It stands for something. And the counselors just play like teenagers going through problems, and I connected with one of the stories really well that night, and I'd never really done that before because they've been doing this TREC thing as long as I've been going to the teen sessions. Excuse me. And I really connected with one of the stories for the first time in my life. And then there's this skit where one of the counselors dresses up in a white shirt as Jesus, and there's the 4 people who were in TREC. They have like shirts with their problem written on it, like what they're feeling, why they feel away from God. And it's just a 1-word phrase, or 1 or 2 word phrase, I guess. And it starts off with the Jesus character, who's played by an awesome guy named Oliver, a guy I love, went to Loveland High. So I really connected with him because it's so close to here, and he's just such an awesome guy. And he played Jesus this year, and he was trying to take the shirts off, but the counselors were playing teenagers, because they're all like 28 years old, and they just pushing him away, like, get away from me. And there's this one chief demon who's standing there in his dark clothing, and that's when I really got tipped off. I'm like, you look a lot like my dream. Just kind of standing there, like, kind of talking to him, taunting him. And then they bring the other demons, and the other demons had chains, and they just threw them on him, and then they were just beating up the kids who were having all the problems. They were attacking them, just like they had my dreams, just like they were beating me up in my dream. They were beating I'm not actually beating because it's a skit, but they were like doing acting beating, just beating them, and just beating everything out of them so that they feel so far away from God. And I have to tell you, that's totally how I felt. I've been having so many struggles these last 5 years, and I felt honestly so far away from God because I don't connect with Him in my church. And I really want to search for a church in college because that's what I'm being called to do. And I'm watching the skit, and it's like, I'm just going like, oh my God. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. That's my dream. That's exactly my dream. And I wish I had a video of the skit, just so I could put it on here so you guys could see the skit and essentially see my dream. I'm sitting there in the back of the party barn where they have the parties and they have the roundup thing where this was.